Hi everyone, Blake Jones here. In this episode of How Do You Do That, we're going to look over the use of qualifiers. So qualifiers, it's important to note when you want to use a qualifier and when to use a primary color correction. So basically the method of operation is you do a very good primary color correction, get this as good as possible, and then you use a qualifier only when you need to touch up a certain color. For example, the red of a car that needs to be punched up a little bit, or the flesh tone needs to be given a little extra attention, or something like this. Then you're going to use a qualifier for this. But it's always important to get your basic primary color correction over the entire picture as good as possible before you think about employing any qualifiers. Now, when you're qualifying a color, you'll notice that there are three controls for it. In the default mode, you have Hue, Saturation, and Luminance Qualification. You have another method which is called RGB, or red, green, blue, which you can qualify the color by the red, green, blue values in the picture. Then you also have another one, which is just the luminance only qualification, for just qualifying just by the luminance levels in the picture. And then lastly, you have the 3D qualifier, which this allows you to create a qualification by making a stroke with your mouse in the area which you want to qualify. So what happens though is that I always encourage people, when you're first starting with qualifiers, to go with the tried and tested method, which is Hue, Saturation, Luminance. First, what you do is you qualify the area with the mouse by clicking on the zone that you want to qualify. And then afterwards, you go into the highlight mode in Resolve. And what this will do is this will put everything in gray except for the area which is being qualified. So then what you can do is then use the Hue qualifier and then move this back and forth and change the width in order to get the best qualification for the hue of the color. Then we want to move over to the saturation qualifier. So by using this, we can move the width, either the high or the low saturation, depending on the amount of color information that's in the picture that we want to qualify. And then finally, if there's not very much color in the picture, it's mainly luminance differences, then we can move on to the luminance qualifier. And then this will allow us to separate the luminance qualifications with this. And so basically we do this by taking the upper and the lower thresholds in either the luminance qualifier, or we also use the upper and lower thresholds in the saturation qualifier. Once this is finished, we can then turn off the highlight mode on Resolve. And then by either using the primary color correction controls, or by just using the saturation and hue controls, we can then change the value inside that qualified area. It's important not to use too much softness while you're using the qualification of the color. And as this can complicate the qualifying, if you are working on a project and you want to do the very fast qualification, let's say you're doing a documentary and you don't want to do a precise qualification, you just want to highlight all the reds or all the greens or all the blues, for example, you can also use the preset qualifiers. Those are actually in the color pull-down menu on Resolve. And basically what you do is create a node, go to the color pull-down menu, select presets, select the color that you want to qualify, and then automatically a qualification is created for this. And this is what we call a fixed vectored qualifier. And this is very similar to what we used to use when we were doing telecine work as a fixed vectored secondary color correction. It's the same procedure basically. So there we have it. For more information about training services, have a look in the comments below. Don't forget to have a look at the other videos on my YouTube channel. And also, don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And think about becoming a Patreon member. There's a lot of great perks there. And hope to see you again soon. Thanks a lot for watching.